And Daniel Jonas is the chairperson of Havruta, a religious community of gay men who work to achieve tolerance and acceptance of the LGBT community in religious society. Good evening, Daniel.
Good evening.
So let's speak a bit more generally. In 2016, what is it like to be gay amongst a very religious society in Israel?
I must say it's much better than 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. Obviously, there's much more to achieve. There's much more to go. We have long road ahead us. For example, just today there was a meeting with Yael German from Yesh Atid party with lots of heads of organizations, LGBT organizations, talking about therapy treatments that still in the religious society, it's still an issue. It's still something that most of the people, most of the educators, most of the rabbis are automatically push young...
Treatments for being gay.
For men,
this is
usually.
What they
I mean, to change. So I'm a young man approaching my rabbi or teacher and say, listen, I think maybe I might be a gay or something like that. And he says, well, there is a treatment for that, so you can be cured. So obviously there is a lot to go, but we're in a better place, there's no doubt. Today there's more and more rabbis that are supporting and stand behind us.
So you began to answer it. What has changed for the better then in the last few years?
As I said, rabbis and families are now more willing to accept, more willing to talk to us, to see us in their eyes, not only like as headlines or something, to meet with us. There were a few months ago a declaration by Bet Hillel rabbinical group or organization that came out with the declaration that all religious communities has to accept LGBTs, which is a huge success. Obviously, we heard immediately the backlash from other rabbis, right? But still, the fact that hundreds of rabbis that are members of that organization stand up, say out loudly that the communities has to accept us, that's a huge change.
What do you think your biggest next challenge is to really make a change that will not see these kinds of meetings happening anymore?
So, again, I mentioned the good things, but also we still hear about the bad things. We still hear about rabbis and communities that don't give us the space in their communities, don't give children. There is a story in one of the settlements lately that a mother came with pamphlet about being religious and LGBT and put it in the synagogue because her son is openly gay, and it did not take a minute before it found its way to the garbage. So there is still way to go. But
well, talking about it at least and acknowledging the problem, something that's often not done within closed religious communities, is one major step. Daniel Jonas, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Much for being
here. Thank you very much.
Much for being
here. Thank you very much.
Much for
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 thank you.